guys.
Sup?
Coffee
And some tea.
and we're back for the second installment of My Angelica. And so this time we're reading chapters
4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. So it'll be read by T, and you'll get to see my reactions. Except if she fails, then I'll take over.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm as strong-willed as Coffee is with the whole straight face thing when it comes to literature. So here we go. Chapter 4, Sage. I've got another one, I said to George. I brushed spilled popcorn from my lap to the littered floor of the theater. Lucky for me, I hadn't ordered the buttered kind. George pretended to be engrossed in the previews. I tapped on my manuscript and said, "A new start here, George." He moved forward, staring at the screen. I could see the bright lights of the action film exploding in the reflection of his glasses. I leaned nearer. Without waiting for his answer, I put my lips close to his ear and began to read. The mist hung heavily over the water, thick with the smell of fish and whiskey. Angelica stood on the dock in her alligator pumps. Her blue sequins dress reflected the patterns of the Milky Way to a T. Her auburn tresses hung loose and straight down her slender back. Her dark brown eyes flashed with intensity. The smell of death tickled Angelica's sensitive nose. On the night of her nomination for the Democratic candidacy to be the first female president of the United States of America, on the night her lover of 13 months proposed marriage, Angelica smelled a murder mystery brewing like Folger's coffee crystals. This time, she would be ready for it. Pulling herself up to her highest height, Angelica remembered her life as a battered child. She had beaten the odds like her wicked stepfather had beaten her. She wiped a lone tear from her cheek with her gloved hand. A fisherman cast into the dark, still waters, eyeing Angelica from his casual sitting position. He wore a black eye patch. It covered one very brown eye. George didn't move. He didn't say anything either. Around us, Dolby sounds rocked the air. I had this sudden urge to kiss George right under his ear. I pulled away from him. George looked me in the eyes, and we both swallowed. "Let me read it to you again," I said quickly, trying to get my mind off George's neck. "Only this time I won't whisper." "No," George said, swallowing again. "The movie's starting now, and it's embarrassing to me whenever you turn on that pen light. People keep looking at us." George needs to get used to people looking at us. I'm going to be famous someday, and people will always be looking at us and asking for my autograph. It won't be that long before people are staring right at us and asking if I'm not the writer of the famous Angelica series. And George will be proud to be seen with me. I'll probably kiss his neck all the time then. I took a handful of popcorn from the basket on George's lap. He had taken it from me when I'd spilled it. He's always saving me when I do something clumsy. "So tell me what you thought," I whispered in a medium loud voice to George. "Great beginning, isn't it? Were you captured by the mystery and romance of the whole neck?" "Neck?" George asked. "Sorry," I said. "I meant thing. Were you engaged by the mystery of the whole thing?" I let out a sigh. "Couldn't you just see Angelica standing there on the rocking dock, the moon reflecting in the water? I was the one standing on the dock. I wore the tight blue sequins dress, and George was the one-eyed fisherman with a very nice neck." When he didn't answer right away, I shined the penlight into his face. "Sage, put that down," he said, pushing the flashlight away. He held his hand was warm on my wrist. I clicked off the light and imagined calluses on his palms caused by a fishing pole. I could almost smell the salt air. "Tell me what you thought, George. It really is important to me." "It needs work." "Where? What?" "Well, for example, she smelled either fish, whiskey, or death. Let her pick one and concentrate on it." "She has a sensitive nose." "You pointed that out. Is that all? Other than her smeller, is there anything you'd like me to say about the opening scene?" "Your writing stinks." "Let's not say anything about smelling it at all, George," I said. "I just want you to know it wasn't a pun," George said. "Oh." I take everything George says with a grain of salt. Most of the time I think George is a big teaser when it comes to my writing. And I save everything I have ever written, whether he likes it or not. I have 638 beginnings about Angelica. I'm sure it won't be long before one of them will sweep America off its feet. I bet a few college classes would steer you towards the writing career you want. College is a good place to be, George said. The other C word. First crap, now college. Maybe you should be thinking about which school can offer you something in the mathematics area. Pooh, I said. Pooh, said George. Yes, pooh. Pooh is one of the words I've been experimenting with in my Angelica beginnings. Math is not the same as writing, George. Math is easy, and, well, boring. Writing is what I love to do. Pooh, George asked again. After he gets his doctorate, George and I will settle down in a little university town and have 3 children. A boy first, then twin girls. I will be a well-known writer. Perhaps historical fiction will be my forte. I kept my pen light handy in case I was hit by any inspiration. When you're a writer, you must always be prepared for when the creating mood will strike. Also, this way I could check out George's neck whenever I felt like it. And I did. 5 times.